It was a tale of two rallies this week in America. One took place in Phoenix and the other in New York. One was for an unhinged man-child to talk about the true victim of Charlottesville, himself.
So what I did, it's me speaking on Saturday, right after the event, that I spoke out forcefully against hatred, bigotry, and violence.
And the other was to show support for Kaepernick, the currently blacklisted quarterback who exercised his First Amendment right to protest the unlawful treatment of black Americans. And who do you think has been labelled a traitor? I'll give you a hint, it wasn't the white guy. So in Phoenix, Donald Trump supporters celebrated their hero while he did what he does best, yelling absurdly to hype up the crowd.
The fake media, they make up stories, they have no sources in many cases. They show up in the helmets and the black masks. Antifa!
Well, in New York, Kaepernick supporters turned out for a man who, as a result of simply kneeling to shed light on the proven and consistent injustice that plagues America today, is widely described as a traitor by the majority of Trump-loving conservatives. You know, the same people who live in a state of bliss while the rest of the world remains terrified that we are just one tweet away from nuclear warfare.
I'm not sure what the anger is all about.
Yeah, me neither, Debbie. What on earth could be the issue, right?
Jews will not replace us!
But let's just break this down for a second. On the one hand, we have a man who, a week after a disastrous tragedy, stands before a crowd and does nothing but talk about himself as the victim, going as far as to reread his initial statement.
I hit him with everything. I got the white supremacist, the neo-Nazi.
And in doing so, conveniently leaves out, you know, the little detail of many sides.
This egregious display of hatred, bigotry, and violence. That's me speaking. This egregious display of hatred, bigotry, and violence on many sides. On many sides.
And yet he continues to be celebrated by his loyal following as a patriot who puts America first. While on the other hand, a rally advocated for a black man's right to speak out exempt from punishment for voicing his opinion, a punishment, by the way, that has been a staple in America whenever a black man doesn't know his place, is considered disrespectful and un-American. So let's just put all this together, right? So when you protest on behalf of Americans who are being killed unjustly, you are a traitor. But when you stand up in front of a crowd and make yourself appear the victim and equate the group responsible for the death of a person as good people, you are putting America first? Am I missing something here? Oh, shit, I forgot. The whole like black-white thing. I mean, the man held a rally to talk more about himself and a campaign that he already won, to double down on his insufferable need to fluff his own ego. All while the un-American, disrespectful Kaepernick didn't even attend his own rally that was in his honor. Instead, he was doing what he set out to do since he took his stance, helping. Yeah, that's right, you missed that fact, conservatives. Again, the guy who spat in the face of Americans and the troops was donating another $100,000, taking his total to $800,000 so far, deciding exactly where the money should be spent to ensure it is put to good use to empower other communities. You know, those same communities that conservative talking heads like to use in their case to deflect away from his message regarding police brutality? Yeah, well, what is he doing for the black community, huh? What is his contribution other than kneeling? Well, a lot, as you can see. But can we say the same thing for Trump? I mean, I thought he was the one who was really for the troops, right? The same guy who announced that he wants to fire 15,000 serving members for being transgender. Shouldn't veterans see that as more of a disrespectful act to this country than a man exercising the right to protest? A right that veterans fought for. But at this point, making these stark comparisons will likely fall on deaf ears to people like Debbie here. Well, I think that's her name. And those who will look to his vegan diet as an excuse. Because the bottom line is they see a white man yelling America first and they think that means patriotism, while a black man speaking out against injustice makes them uncomfortable. But I will end with this. If you did type until your little fingers were bloody about how outraged you were that people showed support for a man who used his platform to shine light on the injustice of black Americans' treatment at the hands of the criminal justice system, but you said absolutely nothing about this injustice itself, then you, my friend, are part of the problem. Follow me on Instagram at Francis M. Maxwell and on Twitter also at Francis M. Maxwell. Like and share the video. Continue to resist.